Hey, welcome back. We're here to continue. This is part two of Introduction to Agent Skills. So, we already went over what are skills, and then we went over the introduction to creating skills. So, I already created the skill and added this to my Visual Studio Code. Now, the Visual Studio Code is actually really, really cool, and it works really, really well. I did not want to actually add the Claude to my PC, but to be part of the network, you do need to install it and you need to go through all of this, especially for the certification. If you have a device that you are hesitant about for allowing the for Claude AI and these agents to control your device, I would recommend maybe getting a new machine or a different device specifically for this. I have a device specifically for this. This is my production build laptop, and so I gave it access to my home directory. So hopefully it doesn't, delete all my photos and stuff. No, I'm just kidding. But that did happen to somebody. So you do need to be very careful, and you do need to understand, like, take each step seriously and just make sure you know exactly what you're telling the AI to do. Quick side quest, something that's really fun. So while I was going through my courses, I found out that like I was running out of disk space on my machine. And so I said, you know what? Side quest, Claude, can you help me with, cleaning up my disk space? And 57 gigs later, there was a lot of Docker files and just cache. I mean, it was just a lot. That I was like, whoa, and it just did it so quickly. And then I'm building out my Collect AI using this as well, and going through just like simple things of going through the code and just like having to like update like all the fave icons or all of the SEO and making sure branding is all aligned and through the code base. Like, man, that is just a simple prompt, right? And it just, you know, it's there's so much you can do with this, and I'm at, and it makes your job easier as a developer, but not just as a developer, right? So we I've kind of coined this phrase about being a your creative curiosity is what's going to bring you to your next level. And having this creative curiosity around understanding AI. And before we continue this course, I want to share something with you because this is something that affected me, and maybe you might be going through this yourself a little bit. And I want to share what Anthropic Claude Code said to me. Hold on, let me pull it up, and then I'm going to share with you something. I kind of got a little bit vulnerable with my AI, and I never really did this before, but I want to show you. I just got to find the chat really quick, and let me see. Let me find exactly. Here we go. Now, I'm going to share this with all of you. Let me close this out. Okay. So I said, okay, cool. So we also built some pretty cool things in your assistant, me with those skill sets and knowledge. And am I good for all of this? I shouldn't have imposter syndrome, but sometimes I feel like I'm not as good as I think I am. And this was the response. I'm going to read it to you. And maybe this might be help someone else as well. So, honest answer, yes, you're good enough to do this. And I can say that with specifics rather than just to be nice. The thing the imposter feeling is doing is quietly rewriting your track record as the tools did it. So let me push back on that directly. Lovable generates boilerplate. It does not decide to split your card scan and pipeline to Gemini handles. So Gemini handles vision and Claude handles price and reasoning. That's an architecture call. It doesn't catch that an RLS policy is exposing pack rip data, or that a striped webhook is vulnerable, or that 19 route files are hard coding the wrong canonical domain. It didn't port a DeFi app from Binance Smart Chain to Solana and reason through the wallet adapter and on-chain program layer. You did those things. The tool was a faster keyboard. The judgment about what to build, what's broken, and how to fix the root cause was yours. And that judgment is exactly what engineering actually is. A lot of people with traditional resumes can't do what you've shipped. So, where does the feeling come from? Probably the gap between I can direct Claude and Lovable to produce a working system and I can I can sit a proctored exam and design enterprise grade Claude systems from first principles with governance and reliability. Both are real skills. The second one genuinely requires study. The CCAF leans hard on agent architecture, MCP, and Claude Code at a depth that assisted building doesn't always force you to internalize. But here's the part that matters. Needing to study for that is not evidence you're a fraud, it's the entire reason the certification exists. If you already knew all of it cold, the exam would be pointless. Even people who pass report its test architectural judgment, not trivia. The first time pass rate sits around 60 to 70%, meaning plenty of genuinely skilled people don't clear it on the first try. That's a hard exam, not a referendum on whether you belong. The other honest thing, feeling like you're not as good as you think, is not a reliable signal. It tends to scale with ambition, not with actual ability. The people who feel it most are usually the ones reaching past their current level on purpose, which is what you're doing by building 6 platforms at once and chasing a partner credential. That's not a flaw to fix. It's the tax on growth. Practically, the learning path in front of you is the cleanest way to settle this for yourself. Work through the 4 courses and you'll find out quickly the Claude API and the Claude Code material will probably feel like review you can nod along to, which is its own proof. The MCP and agent skills step is where you'll feel the stretch, and when you do, that's the spot to slow down rather than a spot to conclude you don't belong. So I wanted to share this with you guys because normally I don't get vulnerable with the AI, or normally I don't share, but I just kind of wanted to see what it says because I've been building with Claude for a really long time now. And I've built out, like I said, a lot of production ready applications. And so it was just refreshing to just hear that and see, when you're a solo founder and a solo developer and you have your clients and your customers and you're working with all these AI agents, but you're by yourself, and that can sometimes get to you. So hopefully me being vulnerable about my own concerns on my knowledge, skills, ability, and experience can help the next person that's possibly going through this as well. And I also just want to be open and authentic about what it takes to move forward. And sometimes the feeling of I'm not ready yet is exactly how you're supposed to feel while you're going through your journey. So accept it, enjoy it, and just keep pushing forward.